Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai, Kol Halo Yamla, Allah Yahweh Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rekak Wadash. All praises to our power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, the God of the heavens and the earth, and of the 12 tribes of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You comprise the 12 tribes of Israel. You are the chosen people of the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, not to exclude also you confusion of faith brothers and sisters, whose bloodline goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which makes you an Israelite scattered amongst the heathen nations. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone, who have labored honestly, truthfully, through the Holy Spirit, and a worthy double honor. So double honors to the elders and apostles, who are the true teachers of Israel today. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. The 144,000 Habayath Madawadah, the house of David. The house of David laboring on the four corners of the earth to make their calling of election sure. To you, I say Shalom as well, and to the Akim and Akwathim who listen and believe on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, I say Shalom as well. So the title of this lesson, I'm going to jump right into it. It's called Better is the End of a Thing. And that end is speaking about the end of the rule of Esau, the so-called white man, who is Esau in the Bible, the Edomites, which is also known as the children of the wicked, the men of perdition. So the end, we're witnessing the end of Esau's rule. So this article's, dated from a few weeks ago, and it's from the Wall Street Journal, from WSJ.com, so the WallStreetJournal.com. In the title, it says, this is not a normal recession. Banks ready for wave of coronavirus default. So there's, many defaults coming because people, have been in this moratorium, which is this grace period of not being able to pay for their loans. This grace period's been going on for about 4 to 5 months now. And now the banks are going to have to, prepare for these defaults. And what is that going to mean? More economic problems, a housing market crash on top of, this so-called pandemic, which is a plandemic, which is shutting down 1 out of 3 restaurants, in the next few months. You'll see 1 out of 3 restaurants shut down. So a lot of mom and pop and a lot of, businesses in general are shutting down. And now you're going to see even more restaurants shut down, which means you're going to see other businesses shut and shutter because, that's the main staple of the economy, So it says, the title said, this is not a normal recession. Why is it not? Because the bankers are preparing for a bigger crash. They're preparing for, a depression. So it says Citigroup earnings were way down. So Citigroup earnings were way down by the $7.9 billion the bank set aside for an unexpected increase, it says, in soured loans. But here's what the article says. The largest U.S. banks signal that the worst of the coronavirus recession is yet to come, opting to stow away tens of billions of dollars to prepare for an unexpected wave of loan losses. And those loan losses are speaking about, people defaulting on their loans, their home loans. J.P. Morgan Chase and Company, Citigroup Incorporated, and Wells Fargo and Company said Tuesday they took large hits to their second quarter profits to collectively stockpile $28 billion to cover losses as consumers and businesses start to default on their loans. So now we're seeing these big banks defaulting on their loans because the people are defaulting on their loans, which is going to cause more economic problems. So you're going to see more tent cities around the country and more cities coming near you. Places where you didn't see people, sleeping in tents, all throughout the downtown areas and throughout the cities. You're going to see that more and more because, it's already estimated between about 40 and 50 million people, with that number, hightailing as we get through this fourth quarter going into next year. If that's the Lord's will that we are going to be here. Let me say it that way. So those numbers are already 40 to 50 million people. We're looking at, over 10% of the population, somewhere between 7 and 15% of the population already, which could get up around 20 to 25 or even 30%, 1 out of 3 people. That could happen, at this rate. So it says the provisions amount to a sharp increase above what they put away in the first 3 months of the year, reflecting a shift in their assumptions about the length and severity of the pandemic's economic toll. JP Morgan, the largest U.S. bank by assets, said it put aside extra to prepare for an unemployment rate that remains at double digits well into next year and a slower recovery in gross domestic product than the bank's economists assumed 3 months ago. So this is the chart. It shows what they assumed and it shows what actually happened. So what they assumed was a third of what actually happened in actual dollars and actual money. It said this is not a normal recession, said James Damon, JP Morgan Chase chief executive. It says the recessionary part of this you're going to see down the road. For years after the last financial crisis, banks made big profits lending to consumers and companies. Eager to take advantage of low interest rates heading into the current collapse, Americans had taken on record amounts of auto loans, credit card debt, and student loans. Corporate debt also reached record levels. After government shutdowns, a host of businesses to slow the spread of coronavirus, the outlook for that debt grew murkier. Bank executives said Tuesday they saw signs of a nascent economic recovery in May after states opened up. Now, a new spike in coronavirus cases that caused a wave of shutdowns has them preparing for an extended downturn. And an extended downturn is the downturn of Babylon, which is circling the drain because there's so many problems in Babylon. You got a food shortage, major economic problems, the housing market, the banks are not, lending as freely, a so-called coin shortage. Everything is leading to, the mark of the beast, which is the chip being implemented. Now, I leave here and I go back here because this video, I'm going to play a little bit of it, goes into this, and I'm going to edify with a few precepts. As a matter of fact, through the Spirit, I get a quick precept before starting the video, because what we're witnessing is the fall, of Esau's kingdom, which is prophesied in the scriptures. All roads lead to the end, and this is the end, and better is the end of a thing. So this is 2 Ezra 6 and verse 7. Then it reads, "Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth?" Verse 8, "And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the hill of Esau." So everything goes back to the story of Jacob and Esau, the righteous and the wicked, Israel and Edom. Verse 9, "For Esau is the end of the world, the rule, the age, the rulership of Esau." This eon, this age of rulership of Esau, this is the end. For Esau is the end of the world. So we're witnessing Esau's fall, which is the end of the rulership of Esau. And Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So the rule of the nation of Israel forever and ever, in perpetuity, is upon us because we're witnessing the fall of Esau. So I'm going to start the video.
The pandemic leveled the U.S. economy in the second quarter of this year, leading to the worst collapse since the Great Depression. The gross domestic product, which is a broad measure of the country's economic activity, fell by 9.5% between April and June, when much of the country shut down. If that drop continued over a full year, the economy would have shrunk by nearly 1/3. Parts of the economy have clearly improved, but the initial recovery may be slowing. Weekly jobless claims were up again to 1.4 million. It is the 19th straight week of 1 million plus claims. Let's look now at the state of the economy with Ken Rogoff. He's an economist at Harvard University and the co-author of a widely cited book on financial crises. This time is different. Ken Rogoff, thank you for joining us again. Worst decline in a quarter ever. Just how bad is this?
No, I mean, it's stunning. We're looking at Great Depression type numbers. Of course, we knew we had a very bad quarter, but we were hoping by now the virus would be calming down and things would be coming back. But we haven't tamed it, at least not nearly the extent Europe has or Asia has. And so I think it's still going to be very difficult for the next 6 months or more.
Well, let's talk about the larger picture. But before we do, I want to dig into this a little bit. I mean, everybody knew it was going to be bad. Everything practically was shut down in the second quarter of the year. But what is behind this? What do you see in these numbers that explain what's happened?
Well, we're all locked at home. You can't go to restaurants. Entertainment is shut down. Businesses can't bring people in. Frankly, I mean, I'm surprised it's not even bigger, the number. Of course, it would have been if we hadn't had, pretty powerful intervention from the Federal Reserve and Congress, at least in the last round.
And as you think about it, I mean, you mentioned the restaurants, the service industry, but it goes beyond that. I mean, what does this mean in human terms?
I mean, it just incredibly exacerbates inequality problems. We have people who don't have a place to shelter in place that's comfortable or safe. And there are a lot of other things going on. People getting other diseases that they're not taking care of, mental health problems, heart problems, you name it. This is just a catastrophic situation. I think certainly the worst thing I've seen in my lifetime, the worst thing I think we've seen in generations, and it isn't over.
And Ken Rogoff, clearly this is connected, and we've talked to you earlier today, and you talk about how much this is connected to what's going on with COVID, the fact that we are seeing a resurgence across much of the country, including in some places where it looked like it was getting better. Can the economy begin to come back while this virus is still raging in parts of America?
I mean, only up to a point. We need parts of our economy, not just restaurants, hotels, and bars. There are things like entertainment, air travel. If people have to socially distance, there are limits to how much businesses can do. I mean, frankly, I'm just stunned we don't have a national policy on something simple like wearing masks, which would help a lot. I mean, contrast us with Great Britain. Their leader also said, "Oh, no problem. This is just a cold." And of course, he got it. But then when they shut down, they shut down. And the virus is really in remission there. Here, we kind of did it halfway, and we're just back to the starting line. We still need to deal with it.
So you're saying that there's a direct, absolute connection between the economy and this virus?
Oh, absolutely. This is a health crisis that spills over into an economic crisis. And if you don't fix the health crisis, people aren't going to want to go out. We're not going to have the economy come back. It doesn't mean nothing can happen and we can't function. We will learn to live with it, but we shouldn't have to. And, they should do giant stimulus. They should protect people, but there's nothing they could do that would help as much as some basic things like improving testing, requiring people to wear masks. Eventually there'll be a vaccine, but I don't know when that's going to be. So yes, as long as the virus is raging, I just don't see how the economy can come roaring back.
So we see,
I just wanted to play a little bit of that. We see that the narrative is set, which is, the coronavirus is causing all these different problems. And then, what's going to be end game? Well, the scriptures already gave us, all the understanding that we need to prepare. This is a time of preparation, prepare in the spirit, getting our spirits in line, with Yahweh Shem Yahushai. This is what time it is. And the scriptures tell us here in Ecclesiastes, the 7th chapter, how to go about doing that. Ecclesiastes 7:2, it reads, "It is better to go in the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart." So it says it's better to go in the house of mourning, meaning to be serious. To use not our liberty for an occasion of the flesh, the Bible says. To take the times that we're coming into very seriously. Because we're coming into the time of Jacob's trouble, the Bible says. So it's better to go into the house of mourning. That the house of mourning is those who are taking all of this serious, which is the last of the warning signs before the destruction comes. And we're witnessing the fall of Babylon on all sides. So this is the time to be in a house of mourning, to be serious, to be grave. It says then to go into the house of feasting, because the house of feasting will be to ignore the warning signs and to go into living your life the way that you choose to, and not coming back to serving Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So this is the last call for the elect, is what we're seeing. For it is the end of all men. So to be in a house of feasting is the end of all men. Because if you don't take things seriously, the Most High don't take you serious. And the living will lay it to heart. So those that are living, those that come back to this truth will lay it to heart. They're going to take it seriously. Ecclesiastes 7:4, the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning. So those that are wise, they're going to come back, to serving Yahweh Shem Yahushua, spirit and in truth, and take these times serious. But the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. So what you see is 2/3 of our people are in the house of mirth, which makes them fools. The scriptures say. Verse 5, Ecclesiastes 7:5, "It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of fools. For as the crackling of thorns under a pot, so is laughter of the fool. This also is vanity." So everything that's in this life is vanity, really. So to come back to the Most High is to the saving of your soul. And to not do that is vanity, because you're going to be destroyed. Ecclesiastes 7:7, "Surely oppression maketh the wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart." Verse 8, in a point, "Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof." So this is the best part of the fall of Esau, because this is the end. This is the end of Esau's rule, in his dominion over the planet. And now, through prophecy, and we just read it in 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, the 9th verse, the Esau's fall means that Jacob is going to rule forever. It's the beginning of the rule of the Israelites. I read it again. Ecclesiastes 7-8, "Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit." And those that are proud in spirit are the ones who think that they can prepare by doing their own, contingency plans, the A, B, C, D plans, etc. Trusted in uncertain riches, their money, their 401k, their job, all the things that gives them security. The scriptures say in your security, you'll be destroyed, and perish in the day of vengeance. So the only security that you can have is these scriptures. Isaiah 33:6, "Wisdom and knowledge shall be this strength." Wisdom and knowledge, shall be the strength of thy times. Let me get that. I misquoted that. Let me get that. "And strength of salvation," the scriptures say. "Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation." So what's going to keep us stable is this wisdom and knowledge. It didn't say money. It didn't say equity in your home. It didn't say any of these things. It said wisdom and knowledge shall be the wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. So if you're going to get saved, so because of this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, applying that and enduring to the end. Nothing else. So if you have anything that you hold to be secure in this world, that's going to secure you in these times, but you fooling yourself. Because the scriptures tell us that this wisdom is great riches. The great riches is the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. When you see the economy is about to crash. So now continuing on. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel real quick. and get a few precepts, because better is the end of a thing. So this is the end of Esau's rule. This is the end. We're witnessing the end, the fall, the epic fall of Mystery Babylon the Great, which is America. Ezekiel 12:25, and it reads, "For I am the Lord Yahweh. I will speak, and the word that I speak shall come to pass." So we're seeing the words of the Most High coming to pass, which is the prophecies, the last of the end time prophecies. "It shall be no more prolonged," because it's not being prolonged. The prophecies are coming fast and furious. "For in your days, O rebellious house, will I say the word and will perform it." So the Most High is performing the words of the prophets. He said it, and now he's performing it. "Saith the Lord Yahweh thy power." And he has to do that because the Most High is bound by his word. So if these things didn't come to pass, then that would make the Most High, not be a man of his word. And so now I'm going to get a quick precept just showing that the word of the Most High has and will be performed, and it will come to pass. So let's go to the book of Isaiah. So this is Isaiah. Computer moving a little slow. Salakia. So it's Isaiah 55 and verse 11. Isaiah 55 and 11. Yeah, Isaiah 55 and 11. And it reads, "So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void." So these words are not going to come back without executing that which the Most High said that they were going to do. "But it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it." So this word is going to do everything that the Most High said it's going to do. Every single prophecy is going to be fulfilled. Nothing's going to stop that. Continuing on, Isaiah 24. Let's get a few precepts. And Isaiah 24, we'll start at verse, let's start at verse 9. Isaiah 24 and 9. So these are the words that the Most High said is going to come to pass. Isaiah 24 and 9. And it reads, "They shall not drink wine with the song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it." So the times that we're coming into, all the mirth is leaving this place. It's leaving the world. But especially Babylon the Great, America. Because the Most High has a vendetta with Babylon the Great. Isaiah 24 and 10. "The city of confusion," which is Babylon. That's why it's also known as Babylon or Babal, which is the land of confusion. This place is nothing but confusion. "The city of confusion, which is Babylon, is broken down." We're seeing that through all the problems. Every house is shut up now. You're starting to see the businesses shut up. And even the houses. People are going to be getting put out their houses more and more because they're defaulting on their loans. They don't have the jobs, etc. "That no man may come in." Verse 11, "There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened." So now that mirth is starting to leave this place. And what is that mirth? The NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, college football. All these things are mirth. Going to concerts, watching your favorite entertainer on tour. Things like going on these destination vacations. People are not able to go because of the coronavirus. Europe and many other nations are shutting their borders off to Americans traveling to abroad. So it says all joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. So now we're seeing all this mirth in this land, all the things that people love to do, partying, clubbing, etc., week in and week out. This is slowly being taken away, which is the words of the Most High not being void. He said these things are going to happen, and we're witnessing these things come to pass. "And the city is left desolation." This place is being destroyed, and the gates is smitten with destruction. So that's what we're seeing, is this place is being destroyed, and this place is being broken down. That's why it's called the city of confusion. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai actually come to pass. So let's get another precept. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah 25. Jeremiah 25 and verse 10, and it reads, "Moreover, I will take from them the voice of mirth. So this is the city of confusion being broken down is the Most High taking from them the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride. These are the words of Yahweh Shai and the elect. You know, the sound of the millstones work and the light of a candle. So this truth is being taken out of this land. And all the mirth and gladness is being taken away as well. So this is the Most High doing that, you know, which he said his word would do that in which he pleases. And that's what we're seeing. And that his word is not being prolonged. So now is the time, you know, of the end of Esau's rule. Better is the end of a thing, you know, and that's the time we're in. We're in the time of the end. So let's get some more precepts. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes 12. So what we're witnessing is the end. Whether you believe that or not, or whether a person, you know, feels in their heart that there's going to be a turnaround, there's going to be some recovery. No, it's not. This is prophecy is what we're witnessing. So to believe anything else is to be in the trick bag. You're tricking yourself. You're fooling yourself. Got a few precepts. We'll close it out. Ecclesiastes 12:3. Ecclesiastes 12:3, it reads, in the day when the keepers of the house, we're seeing the big banks, the international banking elite, the rich, wealthy families, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Oppenheimers, the Gettys, the people that got the trillions, the trillionaires, the ones that run the world. In the day when the keepers of the house, these are the keepers of the house, shall tremble. They're trembling. Why? Because now the things that are happening, the prophecies are overwhelming, you know, the wicked. And the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease. Work is ceasing here, because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened. So now, you know, the prospect of what's coming to Babylon is darkened, meaning it's dim, it's grim. So, you know, that once, you know, shining city on the hill that ruled over the earth and everybody wanted to come to this place, etc. Now there's darkness being seen through the windows, meaning the reality of this place is destined for doom, destruction. Ultimately, it's going to be those missiles. Ecclesiastes 12:4. And the doors shall be shut in the streets. We're seeing the doors shut. That's what this video and this article is about. People defaulting on their loans. People, you know, businesses not being able to stay open. When the sound of the grinding is low, speaking of work, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and the daughters of music shall be brought low. So 2/3 of you Israelites are going to be brought very low, because you are the daughters of music. You are who these devils have used as entertainment to make, you know, and continue on their generational wealth. So let's go to Romans 13. There's a few more precepts. Romans 13:11, it reads, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. So those, you know, who want to remain asleep, the 2/3 of the nation of Israel, you know, let them remain asleep. But for the elect, this is the time for the elect, the faithful few, the believers, the 1/3, to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. So our salvation is upon us. Our salvation is nearer than when we ever thought it would be, because the prophecies are coming so fast. Verse 12, and it reads, the night is far spent, the day is at hand. The day of what? The day of Yahweh Shai returning. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness. Let's put away this sin. Let's put away the ways of wickedness, the ways of Babylon. And let us put on the armor of light, the truth. This is the time to come back to the truth, running back to the truth. You know, the scriptures tell us that, you know, seek ye the Lord while he may be found, while he is yet near, to draw nigh unto him. Because these are the times when, you know, the mirth is leaving this land, and soon it's only going to be mourning and wailing, the scriptures tell us. So let's go to the book of Ezekiel 3 and get ready to close out. Ezekiel 3, starting at verse 7. We'll close it out with this. Ezekiel 3:7, and it reads, but the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted. You look up that word impudent, it goes into basically, being against the truth, being against, and I'm going to pull it up here, being against the Most High. So this is the word imputed, the definition. So it says that the children of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted. Yep, shameless, immodest, meaning they're not modest. Disrespectful, insubordinate. They don't want to follow, the law, statutes, and commandments. They're insubordinate. So these are some of the words: rude, brash, insolent. So these are some of the words of the children of Israel. They're imputed. So let's go back here to Ezekiel 3:7. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee. They won't listen. For they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted. And hard-hearted means having a hard head. Your heart is your mind. And it's a saying in the world, actually, that a hard head makes a soft ass. So our people, because they are stiff-necked, the scriptures say, because they will not hear the law of the Most High, nor will they listen to the prophets. They're imputed, and they're hard-hearted. So because they this way, the Most High is going to bring this destruction, this sudden destruction, unto the children of Israel. So with that, I hope that was edifying to the hopeful elect. Call hello Yamla, Allah Yahweh Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All praises to the Most High Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone, the true teachers of Israel today. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, Habayath Mandawada, the house of David, labored on the four corners of the earth. And to the brothers and sisters that listen and believe on Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, to USA Shalom as well.